Hey, everybody, this is Tess and Katie with Clinical Buddy, where our goal is to create a world where care professionals thrive. And if you've seen videos like this on our page before, it's the same thing. I just wanted to allow you guys the space to get to know another face behind the company. And yeah, let's get started. Katie, are you having a great day today?
I am. I got to exercise and, continuous practice to do what I'm trying to do each day. So it feels good.
Well, good. I always start with a hard hitting question. So, if you were on a deserted island, what three items would you bring and why?
Ooh, I like it. I would bring a camera, my journal, and I'm always cold, so probably something to make fire. Then I will be warm, and no matter what I prepare with food, I can cook it. I'm good.
No, I like that. I've asked that question before and people are like a boat and gas and someone to drive the boat. And I'm like, that's not what we
I think
need
I
here
could
and you
hang
know
on a
that.
deserted
So,
island. I would enjoy it.
yeah.
I joke that I'm a little hippie at heart, so I would just be one with the jungle, the forest, the beach. Pretend I was
Yeah.
Moana or something. It'd be good.
Yeah. At least for the time being, you're like, I think I could figure out how to make this work. All right. Well, now we'll jump into, the real stuff. So tell us just a little bit about yourself, about your background, your role at Clinical Buddy,
Yeah.
just anything you would like the Clinical Buddy audience to know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in a small town in Northern California and couldn't wait to move somewhere. I felt like it was just rural and white and like I just did not like it. So I moved to Southern California, down in San Diego, did my schooling, both my undergrad and master's there, and became a licensed marriage and family therapist. So from an early age, I knew I wanted to help people. I thought about being a surgeon for a minute, but I don't like working late at night. I kind of like to wake up earlier. And the blood and guts thing, it's just not for me, I've learned. So that plan went out the window. I'm glad I chose to be a therapist that way. So I've continued to do that. I have a private practice now. Um, and that journey led me into management and leadership with therapists and behavioral health and admin. And from there, I stepped into several roles, including clinical supervisor and executive director, a trainer for a large organization. And so being able to travel down, the state of California and provide trainings on leadership, organizational health, how to have those crucial conversations with folks, all this stuff I really love that marries both leadership, psychology, and just my passion for serving. So that's me professionally. I spent about 10 years down in San Diego and then relocated back up north, about an hour from where I was raised. And I love the outdoors. I love nature. Anything adventure makes me happy. So I joke, like I said, I'm a little hippie at heart. So I have chickens and a garden and honeybees. And you take me to the redwoods, and I really probably will hug a large tree and just say thank you. I have four beautiful children, and I've been married, for 12 years, 13, and we're happy and grateful, for each day. And despite the challenges, just try to move forward with life. So that's me in a nutshell.
Tell us a little bit about your transition into Clinical Buddy and what your role is and what you're excited for working with the team.
So I had known Dr. Tate and Ross and Kendra through when they were in academia a bit, and our paths had crossed. And so when I heard about Clinical Buddy, I reached out to Kendra. And the conversation was, "Hey, tell me what you're doing. How can I support you?" And at that point, it was purely coming from this place of, "You're good people. How can I help you to be successful?" And it led into a really great discussion about me talking a little bit about what I did and my passion. And we started working together. And so I worked with them as an independent contractor for some time. And the more I did trainings and presentations, the more I started thinking probably clinical buddy lens, right? And how, what about this? Have we thought about this? Or what about this? Or, oh, I know a great person you can meet. And really feeling motivated behind the mission and passion. And that led to then, right, another discussion about joining their team. And so I am now the director of Leadership Lab. And my role really is around helping to meet with organizations, and sometimes we call that a needs assessment, right? getting to know their leadership, their teams, their vision, and then really helping to create and collaborate with them the ideal training for their organization, whether that be working individually with that consulting piece with their leaders, doing team, whether that cross teams or individual teams, working with them, teaching them skills to have that synchronicity, as well as just better communication, shared communication, all of these great things that add to a site's culture and success. And then also doing that in retreats as well. And really, it's been great. It's been fun. It's been really a privilege to work with the companies we've partnered with and to help them, to do better, to be happier in a really simplistic way.
That's great. Well, and since your title is, involving leadership labs, this next question might be a giveaway. But the Clinical Buddy three pillars are leadership, training, and consulting. So, other than the obvious answer, is there one of those that really sparks your interest and gets you really excited?
I want to say all of them, right? I think they're all phenomenal. And yes, the leadership piece, obviously, that's my bread and butter. And I think because, so for me, I went into this field as a therapist, like that's what I was going to do. And I knew I was good at leading, right? Whether that be informally on teams, whatever that looked like. But over the years, recognizing how many individuals step into management because they're good at what they've done, but they aren't taught those managerial skills, right? And as well as when we look at leadership, right? Having a team who really wants to be inspired and follow you, you can develop that skill set, and you can improve that, right? But I think there's this huge piece of people are stepping into positions and they just don't have those tangible skills, and that's where we come in. And there's this gap, and we're able to say, let us kind of bring you to the next level. And in a way, I think there's a ton of consulting, right, and training agencies out there. But I think where we differ is really there's this applied psychology piece of it, right? So myself, Kendra, Dr. Tate, we all do have a clinical background. So we're not coming in doing therapy by any means with your group or agency, but we are able to take a different lens at times and really help people be present and build that relationship, which is the key to so much as far as success in business and organization.
Yeah, that's huge. That's really, really good. So what part of maybe of what you just explained do you wish you would have had when you were starting out, whether that be professionally or as a therapy student, as a clinician? Anything come to mind?
Yeah. Part of it was when I was my first internship and it was with hospice down in Southern California, and I loved it. And it was so difficult and challenging. And in that situation, I had wonderful supervisors. I truly did. They were so supportive. Thereafter, my next kind of job, if you will, or career in the field lacked that supervision piece. And so it was very difficult to get kind of the needs, the training, etc. So if I look back as a new budding therapist, having the ability to have additional training and to have such a list, right, of training topics and to say, ooh, I want that at a really feasible price would be one thing. And the other piece is we also offer and support and connect agencies with supervisors, right? So really great supervisors. So I think that would have been so fundamental in having that supervisor who could have helped, because there was a time where I lost hours because of what I was expecting versus kind of the reality of things. So as a new therapist, that I would say in the lens of a manager or any sort of leader is having the ability to really do work on yourself and how you show up for your people, and how you're leading. There's a lot of doubt, I think, and there's this focus on outcomes, which is very important. Don't get me wrong. However, if you don't have the trust, if you don't know your team, it's going to be a lot harder to have those outcomes. And so having somebody who would probably just reinstill that would probably have made a difference, right? And I think would have had me maybe at a quicker trajectory or just a little bit more confidence in what I was doing.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about Clinical Buddy as a whole is we have an entire team of people that almost wish that you had this when you were starting out. And I think that's in my opinion, something that makes Clinical Buddy very unique because you have history in the fields that we're now going into. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, when I, 5, 10 years ago, I would have really appreciated your services. So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
really, like I said, a very cool insight and something that makes Clinical Buddy unique.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And and even playing to those or who have been in leadership roles for longer and say, "Oh, well, I'm not new at this game. I've been doing this for 15 years." I would say the culture of this work environment has changed, right? And we've seen that post COVID. There's so much more research available, right? Really around organizational health and more, I would say, clear skills and resources in how to manage and develop. So even if it's somebody who's been around, they, in doing this, we're hearing, wow, this is the best training I've had. I walked in here, right, and they were great. They were upfront. Katie, I walked in here and being like, oh, here's another training in the 30 years I've been here. And so I just, part of it was like, we'll just see how it goes. And at the end was able to say, this is the best training I've attended. I actually walked away with new skills and I feel empowered, right? I feel like I can make a difference. And that's coming from somebody who's in a department that is not soft, like just therapy, right? So that's the other piece. Like we can do this across the board, not just in mental health, and we're seeing great outcomes.
No, that's amazing. And we are going to wrap up with this next question. And it can be a little bit personal, but answer it however you'd like. If you could give a piece of advice to a younger you, what would that advice be?
Mm. I can never answer anything with just one question or one response, I feel like.
Right, right.
So one, I would say don't lose sight of my empathy and compassion, right? I think I've always been somebody with big feelings and really coming from a place like Myers-Briggs, right? I think with my emotions. And that has served me very well in a business model, right? And I think there are so many opportunities to lose that. And business can be rough, and those decisions are hard, and they affect people, and you sometimes have to make difficult decisions. And so I would say hold on to that compassion. And then secondly, that learning is not just this corporate ladder, right? I think when we look at success, we tend to be like, I want to start here and I'm going to work my way here, and recognizing that we can traverse, right? And we can go in many directions and continue to learn and develop. And to trust the process probably would be the advice I'd give myself.
Well, that's very good advice. And as we're wrapping up again, is there anything else that you would like to communicate with our Clinical Buddy audience or anything come to mind?
I just say thanks. Thanks for being a part of our journey and hang on, because I think it's going to be a fun ride. And I have so much hope and excitement and faith that Clinical Buddy is going to, step into so many different realms and continue to make a difference and serve. And so check us out, follow us, and definitely reach out if people have questions. I think we're here to support them, whether that be, hey, I just want to see what you guys are about versus, moving forward. We just want to support and help.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Katie, thank you for your time today. And thank you to everyone that took the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. Or if you'd like any further information, you can always go to clinicalbuddy.com. But yeah, that's all we have for you today. Thank you again, Katie.
Absolutely. Bye.